Scrubby people, long time no see. Today I am creating a video, the first video in my 2023 No Stress December Daily Prep series. Today I'm using the Festive collection that I just released this weekend as part of the Festive Team YouTube hop. So in the comment section below, or not in the comments, in the description box below, there is a link to everyone else in this hop. We are all using the Festive collection to inspire you with this beautiful new printable collection that is currently 50% off in the store. So if you are inspired, you can go ahead and follow the link to pick that up as well. So this first page that I'm creating, I will be creating 4 different projects. The first project that I'm creating is a page that I've seen around the internet, sort of. I'm doing my own play on it. It is a page that it is a 6x8 that flips up. So these 2 flaps on the top and the bottom flip up and down. So I decided that I will probably end up doing like 2 4x6s in the center there. Yeah, there'll be about 4x6s. And then I will put something at the top and the bottom that are not photos. So what I decided to do is some journaling cards. Now you can see these little tabs that I'm putting on the side of my pages. I created a template for myself in well, I did it in Illustrator, but it is a silhouette template that creates these little tabs that are perfectly sized for the Life Crafted albums. And that way it extends my pages rather than me having to punch holes in the pages that I want outside of the page protector. So that was super cool and fun. And I really like that addition to some of these pages in my album rather than having to put holes in everything. So I have all of these washi strips that I have printed and cut on washi paper, and there is a reel on my Facebook, or will be on on my Instagram, not my Facebook, coming up that shows you how to do that. It is really simple. There is an older reel on my Facebook or my Instagram as well that shows you how to do it, but it's really simple in Silhouette Studio to do this. You just have to basically create squares or create rectangles and drag and drop them, your patterns, into them. So I created a whole sheet of washi patterns from the Festive collection. So I'm using that to extend the vertical length of these flaps because they're just slightly larger than 4x6. They're like 4.25 by 6 because the whole page is 8.5 or 8.5 by 6. So they have just like a little bit above or at the ends here that I'm using these cute little washi strips on. So I used the journaling card at the top, and at the bottom it says Merry Christmas or something along those lines. So this is what it looks like opened on the top and open on the bottom. So this is a really simple page that I can just add some photos to and go on my merry way. So here is page number 2. I wanted to use some acetate and the currently cards from the Festive collection. So I'm deciding which ones I want to use or which ones I'm most likely to use. So this will be some sort of filler page in the album when, you know, we didn't do anything that day or I just need something to fill some space. So I want to use this current playlist, seasonal reads, and holiday watch list, as well as December forecast, and currently sipping and currently feeling. So December is often rife with emotion for me. It's not exactly the best time of year for me mentally, so I often feel a little bit grinchy in Christmas. So I thought that that currently feeling would be a perfect way to sort of encapsulate the way that I'm feeling in December if I need to. And maybe I'll be feeling great. I'm trying real hard this year to sort of not be grinchy, but we will see how that works out. So I'm just adhering them directly to the acetate, and now I'm adhering these to the back. And then in the middle, I was thinking I wanted to do the photos in the middle. So I thought like a cover of the book that I'm reading, a cover of the music that I'm listening to, maybe a picture of me, a picture of my Starbucks cup, whatever's happening would go in the middle in a tag shape. So I'm just going to create some placeholders for those. But first I'm going to use some of these fibers that I got from a Michael's fiber like trim bundle they sell. I'm going to use those as the bows for this page. So I'm just going to tie, I'm using 3 different ones, and I'm going to tie bows for each of these pages. And then I'm just going to, on the other side, make sure that I'm using different fibers or a different one than the one on this side. So you can see I've got 3 different ones going on here. I'm going to flip it over and add some more to the other side. I wanted to vary the different green shades and maybe the different reds as well so that it would be a little bit more interesting. So you can see, just going to trim these up, but makes it fun and different, adds some texture to this pretty interestingly clear page. So I'm just using a tag, a different tag, to create a placeholder. I thought maybe I would want to do them longer, but I didn't really like the way that that looked. So I'm just going to make them the same length as the tags themselves. And then I'm just going to use them as placeholders. So eventually I will just add photos in instead, but I wanted to show you what the completed page would look like as a placeholder. So that is another page done. Easy for me to fill in later on down the line. And it's fun and full of texture. So now I had a bunch of scraps left over. So what I want to do is add in some of these paper scraps because I don't love recycling paper scraps into my stash. So I decided to cut them all down to 2x2 squares and then turn them into triangles because I want to do one of those cool heart pages. Now, once I get these all cut down, I thought maybe, and I really tried to make it work, I wanted it to be a page that folded out, but it ends up just being a solid page instead. So what I'm going to do is set up my heart and make sure that it makes sense. And I did struggle a little bit with making it look right, I guess. It was not quite working the way that I wanted it to. It was because I realized that I wasn't extending it out far enough once I get past the second row, but I figure it out and we get it settled. You can see I had this like wide heart to begin with, and I'm like, that does not look right. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to extend this a little bit lower. So now I've got all of these pages, or all of these papers, and it makes a cool quilt pattern for this heart. I decided I needed one more pattern, so I'm going to cut up this one, and perfect. So now I'm going to just adhere these to a piece of white cardstock, and I did go ahead and go through and like score the white cardstock so that it would fold, but it just didn't end up working out the way that I wanted it to. So you'll see when I am done with this part that it's just kind of flappy, and when I put a photo on the back of it, which is like what I think I'm going to do, it will make it so that it doesn't fold anymore. It won't be that big of a deal. But I tried so hard to make it fold, but I just couldn't make it work on the rings the way that I wanted it to look. I've seen other people do it, but the way that it was looking in their albums wasn't really how I wanted it to look in mine. So I tried so hard to make it work, but it just wasn't going to happen. So you can see it's folded, and I'm working it. I keep folding it, but it's just not going to work. So I decided to add in a photo frame and a title instead on the front of the page. Just something for me to have a little bit of a placeholder. I can decide later on down the line that I don't want that there if that's what I decide, but just something to give me an idea to move from later. So these are all digital embellishments here that I'm going to use. So they're all from the digital kit rather than the sticker sheet. I did print out what I wanted from the digital kit in case I wanted to use it. So I like incorporating that as well. I'm not a big fan of using the super textured stuff, like printing the super textured stuff, but I do love the look of the layered flowers when they're printed. So I printed that out in the frame and the title. And that's really cute. I love the way that that looks. So that'll work for me. And then I'll just probably put a big photo on the back, and I'll just print it out the right size and then trim it down once I stick it to the back of the page. So the last thing I'm going to do is I saw this really cool idea, and I don't know who I saw it from. So if you know, you can tell me in the comments below. Oh, actually, I do know. This one I do know. It was Paige Evans. So she had this sort of number page in the beginning of her December Daily album, and I decided to do something similar with the numbers from the sticker sheet. So what I'm doing is I'm going to back all of these numbers on these patterned circles that I've cut out from the scraps of my papers that I have left over. So I'm just adhering them in a pattern order. I think I have 8 different numbers and 8 different patterns as well. And then I'm going to take my scoreboard and I'm going to score them about 1/4 of an inch in so that they fold up when I adhere them to my page. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to just use it in the beginning of my album as a rundown for like all of the stories that I'm telling, all of the activities that I'm telling or that we're doing for December. So I'm cutting out these blank pieces of cardstock, and they are going to be where I write my stories. So I'm going to take some red line tape and I'm going to use it just at the top of that flappy part to adhere that circle to the white cardstock, and then I'll adhere the whole thing to the acetate. I'm always really big on acetate in my December daily. So I've got 2 acetate pages in this album. But if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. There is a link to everyone else on the hop in the description box below, as well as a link to the Festive collection that is 50% off right now. And I will see you next time. Thank you.